All right, welcome to the movement. My name is Zoe Levine, and I just wanted to check in with, for any of you that may have been here last week, there was a hard ask for the next for this next challenge or habit that we talked about, which was befriending the floor and finding ways to get down to the floor. I just wanted to check in because it's a challenging one and it's a weird one. How did it go? Are we still like, it's kind of far away? Did you try a few things? How did it go? Any,
So I did try it. I actually love hanging out on the floor. So, but yeah, it's good to have that reminder to keep doing that.
yeah. And sometimes if you're like me, before as a dancer, I always loved getting down on the floor. It's just part of what I do anyway. But the ideas of still being able to find your sits bones and get comfortable and use bolsters to kind of get that opening that we're looking for was a very different idea. It's different than, like even in the sofa, right? I'll just be like, whatever, like hanging all the things, right? Which is, it's not sitting still in one position, but it's also, you can still kind of keep your hips glued together, in certain ways. That tail tuck, you can kind of not quite get to the exact movement vitamin that we're going to. So there's a time and a place for all of it. It's fun to explore. I'm so glad that you were playing with that a bit, Kristen.
Yeah.
Great. And yeah, never stop. I see my daughter squatting. She's still 9 and she'll still get into like that deep squat to play. And I tell her and I tell her friends, just never stop doing that. Just never stop. Because that's where all of my clients have run into problems. All the movements that we've given up. We don't squat deeply anymore to go to the bathroom, right? Like we don't do that. Squatty potties are a thing and they're really awesome, which you can kind of bring the squat to you. So today and all of April, we're going to continue this idea of building up a better squat. Hi, Marina. Hi, Kelly. Welcome back. And so we'll play with all the things that we have in our toolbox that can and will help that be even possible. And it doesn't have to be what my daughter does quite yet, right? Being able to squat all the way down to the floor and get back up without your hands. And, like that is maybe the end of this year, maybe next year for some of us. But being able to get into that position, being able to find strength there is our goal, because that means a lot of the right things are doing the right job. So we don't have all the compensation patterns and the stickiness that we have as we cast ourselves into these shapes that we do every day, right? We talked about the chair sitting. It's kind of the same position every day. And our bodies are like, okay, we'll just stay here. We'll just stay in this position. If you need us to be efficient here, you stand up, and we're like kind of stuck in that same position. So along those lines, let's get moving. Hi, Laura. Welcome, welcome. We'll start with a habit of the day. You've seen this already. We're going to call it happy hamstring squats, which you've kind of played with just in play, right? I get you to play with this all the time. So let's go to your happy hamstring stretch, which could be on a desk. It could be, the only thing that's easy to move around here is my chair. So this is the one where you could hang out here for a minute with straight legs and move your hips around. You could stretch your arms forward. And again, this could be your chair. This could be a desk. This could be your kitchen sink, the break room sink. It could be a random pole at a work site. If you feel comfortable. I feel comfortable doing this just about everywhere. I would do it in the airport, but I'm a little weird that way. And I would definitely choose my own comfort over, I don't know, someone judging me for looking silly. So that's the happy hamstrings, right? We're trying to get those sits bones off the hamstrings. Bonus points if your arms are reaching long and you can start to open up your side ribs, right? Remember those bonus points? You can kind of push or lengthen one side of your body, kind of curving, right? Just like we're doing this, but in your happy hamstring stretch. And so many good stretches in here, right? And you can move around, yada, yada. Finding breath into the ribs. You can even stay and take a moment to breathe that wide accordion rib space open. And both sides get that. Sits bones reaching far away. Okay. Come up and shake that out for a second. And then you're going to go to the same thing again. I'm gonna get my light on here. Same thing again. This time the focus is a little bit more on squatting in the legs. You could be here. Find what's most comfortable for you. You could be here. Missed. All right, you could be here. Sits bones back and just sit into it. It's like a mini squat that doesn't feel like too much pressure on your knees. And then come back up. And then it's like a mini squat, just stretching. Here's what it's not. It's not just knees coming forward. This one. It's almost like your shins are going to stay there and you're going to go further back and fold in that hip crease. Do you see how that's the squat? That's that squat position. It's just less of it and up higher and less pressure on your knees. So just find a little squat and you can come up to standing. You could do that from forearms. You can do that with your reach. This is especially one of my favorites where you can pull, if you got the kitchen sink here, you can pull your sit bones back. Stair railings, a deck railing, railings are great. And just bend and straighten a few times. And notice when you bend, it's easier to kind of open your tail, right? We don't want any of that sad puppy tail between their legs sort of thing. Open. You can even try the difference, right? You can try to tuck under, there's your sad puppy, and then open. And I know it's weird if you're in a more public office, but you gotta have some tools that you're gonna do on your own, right? Bending and straightening. And this is, finding your sits bones. When you sit down on your chair, one more time, and then we'll stand up. And we're trying to be stacked and perched on your sits bones. That's one way to do it. Whatever you've been using for your calf stretch, grab that now. It could be a couple books. It could be a rolled up towel. It could be, I got a blanket here. Something, remember this one? Something where you could put a foot up, the front of your foot up, your heel is down. I've seen people do it, try to do it with like your shoes, stack your shoes, just get something tall. And then you can start to just stand on that. One foot is on the floor completely. One foot is heel to the floor, toes are lifted. Let everything else drop. This is going to be part of your squat, having enough ankle flexion just to get down to find all of your folds again, right? When we talk about squats, we talk about losing foldability in our bodies, right? We don't use it, we lose it. Things get stuck together and then it's not as easily accessible. So one of the things that we lose is this space at the backs of the legs. The whole fascial line in the back body gets tight. That's why we get the low back pain and compression, right? A couple more moments here. Shoulders can just relax. You can practice that letting go of your shoulders. They're not going to be tense or squeezed back. They're just hanging. You can practice the breath into the low ribs in the back. Good. And then step off and see if you feel a difference one side to the other. One side might feel more solid. You might feel more grounded, more connected at the whole body. With your weight a little bit further back or supported in a different way. Try the same thing on the other side, calf stretch. It doesn't seem related to a squat. We're not even folding in the hips at all. Hang out here. Has anybody, just a quick show of hands, has anybody figured out a way to get your calf stretch into your day? This is a big one and just a nice review. You can wave or show hands. And if not, awesome, nice work. Have you noticed, so I want you to notice if you take the stairs, and I encourage you to take the stairs more often, that was the place where I noticed the difference the most as I got better and better at this calf stretch. I would go down the stairs and feel, oh wow, my ankles just have more room and everything felt better. It took pressure off knees and hips in an interesting way. See if you notice that. You can let me know if you notice that, or if anything else shows up interesting for you. It's not always obvious just in walking around for everybody. I tend to notice a difference, but it's pretty subtle. subtle to feel, powerful to see, and to watch everything change, I should say. Good. And go ahead and step off there. If you want to be extra crazy, you could get, if you have something where you can get both feet on, you could try both feet on and your hamstring. That's going to be a little tight or intense for some of you. You could play with bending your knees here. Now you're going to get a big pull in the backs of the calves in a different way. Be gentle with it. And maybe it's not for you. You can always step down or try one at a time. But if you're feeling a little adventurous, you could try with both feet up. Yep, very good. Come off of there. Whatever you're using can get off to the side. Let's play with, trying to think if I can do it on this one. That kind of squat fold with one leg up. Right? This is the one where the shin stays mostly vertical. If anything, that thigh sits back. This is the one to go back to if you find going too low in our happy hamstring squat that we did. If that starts to bother your knees in any way, here's a baby step, right? There's not a lot of pressure in either, but you can really get into that hip crease a couple times. You could even start to feel like you're pushing as if you were going to step up. You're not. You don't have to step up onto your office chair. But that kind of push down to feel, oh, my glute is there. That is what I use to get up. Can you feel that a little bit? That's the glute that eventually will help you get up off the floor, right? It's just there. I'm going to do the same thing other side. So foot can be in front of you on your chair, and it's just your butt heading back. The standing leg will bend slightly to whatever extent feels reasonable, and you're really letting this hip crease. Watch out for the sad puppy version, right? Do you see that? The sad puppy version. It's so funny because we have 2 dogs now, and one of them like naturally is built with a little tail tuck, and the other one is very open, and their personalities kind of match that too. The more passive one is all tucked and kind of timid and passive and wouldn't hurt a fly, and then the other one, it will get ya. Good. So find that open tail. Beautiful. Then from here, let's just have a seat for a second. We'll get back up probably, but check in with your sits bones after all that. You can tuck and tilt. And just see if that's easier to feel like, oh, I have room there. Look at that. I can feel my sits bones a lot forward and a lot back. And then it's easier to figure out where's the tippy top where you can float on top. Yeah. You find it, and then see if it's a little bit easier to perch there and hang out there. Awesome. While we're here, we'll get back to our first, our habits review in a second, but while we're in a chair, this is another fun one. So we've done all this work to find this crease today, right? We're going to do just a little bit to find the opening in front of your thigh, and you can do it right from a chair. So one of my favorite things to do, again, you'll catch me if you ever see me at an airport. I'm probably doing something crazy like this. So options. Your kind of side, one thigh is kind of on the front of your chair. The other knee can be straight dropped to the floor, or slowly slide that other leg back to wherever you feel a bit of a stretch, right? It's like a yoga lunge, but you're supported. Look at that. So you can play with that. You could just stay here and hold on for dear life because it's a little tricky, right? You can hold on to the chair. You could take just the one arm up, same arm as leg is back. And one of my favorite things in the world, now you just look like a dancer. You're gonna take a big side bend. So it's almost up and back, it's a little bit side. And you know what? You could play everywhere. Go slow and see where your body wants to feel a stretch. And maybe it's everywhere needs it. And maybe your knee is bent a little bit. Maybe it's trying to straighten. Just find some reach and some space and some breath. Look, it's like a little chair dance. A nice one. Oh. Love the supported yoga. Yes. Good. Same thing. So from here, lengthen the leg out. We just switch sides. You can let it drop, you lengthen it up. Good. You could stay here. Maybe that's enough. Maybe just moving around. Maybe you take that same arm as leg, it goes up. Maybe you just stay there. Maybe there's room to play by taking a side bend. I've even got room to roll everywhere. Lean into the chair itself is fun. You can think of arching back a little bit or just reaching for the ceiling, reaching for something next to you. So you might get a whole side body length in into the front of the hip, which is amazing. Again, if you've been sitting in that hip flexion all day in your seat. Beautiful. And come back, find your sits bones again. Take a little moment. You can find your tuck and your tilts. And see if you can sit directly on those bones. See if it's any easier, if it feels different. Come up to standing again. Last time I'll make you stand. Just take a little walk around your space. Notice how your legs might feel different in the way they walk because your feet and ankles have more space. The back line has more space. Hips might be easier and more open. And then we'll finish this off with one more of our habit of, well, you know what we should also do is get back down to the floor. That was our habit last week that I'm sure a lot of you were hesitant to do. Let's do this one more time. So you have your lengthening sits bones to fingertips and then squat back behind you. Open tail, not that sad puppy. It's so funny because the puppies are named Bow and Arrow. So Bow is like this, like a little tucked, like a bow. And then Arrow is long and straight. So make your torso like that. Good. And you can just up and down, right? There's a little bit of strength to be had there. You don't have to go super deep if that doesn't feel good or right, but you can play around with it, right? We were doing one at a time before, just making it more official. And then give it a try. Head down to the floor. Just go all the way down to the floor. You could try no hands. It might be easier after the work that we've done. If that's not accessible, try with hands. It still might be easier after the work that we've done. Try to get down and up one more time. All the way down. You can go slow, get into any position. Any way you want to come up, you can try no hands or not. Use a bench, use, if you need to use your hands to grab things, that's fine too. And then come back to sitting. All right, so I encourage you for this week to remember the getting down to the floor, the getting up and down a couple times in the day if it's not already a habit. Sitting, we talked about sitting on the floor in all sorts of different positions where you can find your sits bones and get all your stretches in while you're doing something else. On the coffee table, I like if you're in a home setting. In the office, it might be more tricky. Maybe it's just something you bring home. Or you just get up and down a couple of silly times during the day. And then for this week, just adding in, if you're doing that happy hamstrings, right? The reaching on chair or desk or sink or something, add in some of those squats with the intention of really folding in, finding your hips and glutes there. Just a couple times, just say hi. We're just saying, we need you still. We're not willing to give you up. That's all. It's not, oh, we're going to beef up and get cute. No. Just for now, just like, hey there, these are movement vitamins that we're not willing to give up yet. I would like to be able to get up and down from the floor and get up and down stairs without pain. So here's what we're going to do to make sure your body make sure everybody knows that you're not willing to give that up. All right, that's our homework for this week. If anyone has an idea where you're going to put that happy hamstring squat or the getting up and down to the floor, feel free to put it in the chat. Have a little accountability. Sometimes writing it down is helpful. And if not, then I will see you next week. And thank you for joining. Yes, between meetings. I think that was said from someone else last time. That's a great idea. Get up and do this between meetings. I can just picture you like down below your desk, Laura, and everyone's like, where's Laura? I'm down here. I'm getting up in a second. I'll be right
We
there.
have some visitors here today who don't usually see our antics, and I got so many looks today as I was like down in a deep squat.
All of our walls are windows to the house, to the hallway, so.
Yeah.
Were you able to explain it to anyone? It's always nice to make friends.
No, but
I
Dave
wonder.
and I are right next to each other, so hopefully he saw both of us doing strange things and not just me.
Not just you.
Paula, I'll send you the link. They're on a YouTube playlist. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, watch the.
Thank you. I don't know what the happy squats are. I'm missing this whole thing.
I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you next
Thank
week.
you.
Bye.
Bye.